What do we talk about in this episode? I think first of all, we started with your background. You gave us a summary of where you lived.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what else? We talk about Germany,
South Africa.
South
Yeah,
Africa,
Germany, South
yeah,
Africa, Taiwan,
Taiwan, making
a little,
friends. Yeah, a
yeah,
little.
making friends, education experience,
Yeah, and moving
memory,
here. Yeah,
yeah,
language.
and a little bit about Japan too.
Yeah, cool. Welcome to Chai with Ping. This is Ping Robert. In this podcast, I cover underrepresented and personal stories. Join me with a cup of chai and take a listen. Cool. You ready?
Uh, sure,
Sure.
go
All
ahead.
right. Welcome back to Chai with Ping, and my name is Ping Robert. Welcome back to my channel. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe and follow our channel. Chai with Ping, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Also, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or even YouTube. Today, I met this guy who is pretty cool. He self-identified as a third culture kid, and then this is not the first episode on my channel in a series of TCKs. So he is right now an undergraduate student and in Colorado, and I met him in a conference, and he gave me a very cool introduction because he actually lived and grew up in 5 different countries in his critical years in as far as he can remember. So let's welcome Ken.
Hi, good to be on your show.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to come to the show. I'm so glad that you made that decision.
Yeah, I'm glad to be.
Yeah. So should we just dive in with the questions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Cool. So Ken, could you share about a little bit about your background, like why you moved around so much and your important identities?
Okay, well, I would say not long story short, but short story long. I was born in California, Los Angeles, but my parents are originally from Japan, but they just happened to be in the U.S. because for work. And I grew up in Los Angeles for the first 2 years, and then afterwards I moved to Germany because of my parents' work. I lived there for a total around 5, 6 years. Then I moved to South Africa where I lived for 4 years, Taiwan for like 7 years, and before coming to US to study for college, I was in Japan for quite a little time.
Okay. Do you have any other siblings?
Well, I do have a younger brother.
Mm-hmm. And so you four of you just moved together.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So let's start with the first country, Germany. I guess you don't have much memories in California. So then let's just dive in Germany. What are the special memories you have? Especially you were like a kid, like almost like a 3 year old till so you stayed there for 6 years till your elementary school?
Basically preschool until about second grade.
Mm-hmm. So do you remember anything distinct from that?
Well, the better than California, of course. One of, let's go with food first.
All right, sure. The German food.
Well, one of my most favorite thing to order in any restaurants or let's say beer garden is pretzels. Basic,
Oh.
and also I like to go with apple juice with that.
Mm.
And whenever I go to beer garden with, let's say, my parents, some of their friends, all
Mm.
together,
Yeah.
I would always order the same thing.
Mm. Nice. Did you speak any German?
I did at that time.
Oh, okay. So you
Not
don't remember.
anymore. Not anymore.
Okay.
Sadly, it would be nice.
Yeah, I know. So did you go to kindergarten when you were 3 or you wait until like 5?
I did go to, I would say, in U.S. equivalent, I would say preschool. I did at an early age.
Yeah.
I did go to a German preschool slash kindergarten.
Yeah. Do you remember which city you were in Germany?
Oh, yes, I was in a city called Potsdam, which is near Berlin, the capital city of Germany.
Got it. So I can imagine during that time, like 20 years ago, maybe, how many Asians were there in that preschool? Zero. Were you the only
Almost,
one?
almost zero,
Wow.
if I
Cool.
remember correct.
Yeah. Did you feel you were different from other people?
Um, by that time, I would say no.
Yeah.
As a preschool young children, you
Yeah.
don't. I never thought about that whether I felt different or not. As simple as it could be, I just wanted to, make friends, hang out,
Yeah.
play, and just have a wonderful preschool experience.
Yeah. And then you went on to elementary school.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I moved down to a city called Munich after being in Potsdam
Mm-hmm.
around 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how was that experience?
I don't remember much about moving from northern Germany to southern Germany, but from what I've been told from my parents is that we took a long train journey to southern to Munich,
Yeah.
and we pretty much we settled down in a kind of a suburban area.
Mm.
Just I would say probably equivalent like Boulder.
Got it. So Ken, you were saying you don't remember that much about moving from north to south Germany. But I want to ask you, like, how was the school experience for you? Were you also, because I know Munich has a lot of diverse populations right now. I don't know about before. So were you also the only Asian kid in school?
Pretty much yes. In
Yeah.
kindergarten, elementary, yes.
Yeah. And did anyone treat you differently because of your race?
Um, I would say not at all.
Yeah. And did you feel anything different, or you just kind of, got along with everyone else?
I surprisingly I did not feel any different. Of course, there was in kindergarten or in elementary. I did have like I always had like one, two, three, a few close friends, and I
Mm-hmm.
always hang out with the same group. And yeah, from being from local Germans to people from from friends from Slovakia
Yeah. Also kind
and
of
other countries
immigrants.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got
through
it.
ourselves immigrants too.
Okay, cool. And so at home, do you guys speak Japanese or do you guys speak English or German?
Okie doke. In home with my mom, I always spoke Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
However, with my dad, we purposely spoke English pretty much most of the time.
Okay.
The reason why that was because we kind of knew that English was going to be important for me as
Yeah.
it is now.
Yeah.
So that is why I spoke English with my dad.
Got it. Wow. So, but do your parents speak English to each other or they just speak Japanese?
Japanese.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so just for the kids. Got it. And you were there in Germany for about 6 years and you moved to South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, that was definitely a big change. It's like Africa or South Africa. And yeah, it was definitely hard leaving Germany to, leave my good friends behind. For example, there was one of my good friends. We always, after school ends like around lunchtime, like 12:1, we would always go to each other's house, uh, do homework together, eat lunch, play, and yeah, he was essentially just my buddy, but when we left, he, I, I seriously missed him. I missed him, and yeah, it was hard to leave some friends behind. Ultimately, it is what it is, and I just have to follow along with my parents.
Did you express that you were upset to your parents before moving?
Never.
Is that kind of a home culture? It's like just follow the parents.
In some ways, within yes.
Yeah. Like did you feel anything different when you landed in South Africa?
South Africa. Yeah, I would say I do remember. I mean, when arriving in South Africa, well, someone did pick us up, and we ended up, when we go to the highway to our respective accommodations, you get the first feel that okay, something is different by just looking how the landscape is, whether that's mountains or just the general view of homes, and I would say cars too.
Oh yeah. I guess you guys were in a city, right?
Yeah, we were in a big city called Cape Town, which is
Oh,
pretty much the most southern point of
yeah.
Africa.
Yeah, yeah. The capital too.
Yeah, capital. Yes, that yeah, it's complicated.
Well, how is it complicated? Explain to her. I don't really know that much about South Africa.
Well, South Africa is, well, as you know, it's in South Africa. Yeah, and it has pretty diverse geographically, and there are a couple of big cities: Cape Town,
Mm.
Johannesburg, Durban, other areas, and I live pretty much in the most southern point of Africa.
Yeah, the whole Africa. Yeah.
And as it might be, it's just cities, no safaris,
Mm, that's
as
right. That's right.
as as it might be common to see in the media or movies, or or
So
some Disney movies. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, Lion King probably the most. And what about your school? What kind of school did you go to? Did you still go to a local school or an international school?
I ended up going to a international school,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was a British school system.
Mm-hmm.
And but to be it's kind of more complicated. The school that I went was, I would say, half private, half public. The reason why that is because my school were like obligated like by the government to accept like local students too.
And so, oh wow, let me see. What kind of curriculum did you use? Because I know there is a IB program for your international schools, and there are some other ones. I don't know about British schools.
Curriculum. Yeah, basically we pretty much use the British curriculum.
Yeah.
I would say some of the common subjects we took was maths, which was called numeracy, different English, numeracy. Or there was classes called design and technology, basically where we will make things, of course, arts, world studies, and I also did took French and geography. Yeah, those are examples of the subjects that I took.
Yeah. What was your favorite subject then?
Oh, my favorite subject, I would say not lunch.
You didn't like
I would
school that much?
say I would say in between science at the time, because I did love doing science. We always had to do a science experiment, science project
Yeah.
annually,
Yeah.
and I was always able to pretty much choose what I want to investigate, and yeah.
Got it. Wow. Okay. So you were in South Africa for 4 years. Got it. 4 years.
Yeah.
During those 4 years, I'm curious as a expat family, did you do anything special within your own family as like a routine, or you kind of just blend into the local culture?
Uh, both. We wherever we are, like we would celebrate New Year's, and whenever we wanted to, let's say, get Japanese food, we would go to a Chinese market and, for example, get tofu, bean sprouts, miso, those kinds of stuff, and also rice too. And blending in, yeah, we would definitely also have a combination of everything. For example, we had a big backyard in our home, and we always barbecue. One of the most notable differences is that in South Africa, how they do barbecue is using charcoal, unlike in the US where you grill or barbecue using electric grill.
Grill, yeah. Oh wow, so it's rustic. It's like you put coal underneath and a rack and meat on top.
Yeah.
Is there any special memory like spending those years in South Africa?
Definitely one of the notable memories being in South Africa is to actually see wildlife going like safari. One of the first places that where we went when my family went, we went to this national park called Kruger National Park. It is very famous, and what's so unique is that, let's say, you could arrive at an airport, rent your own car, and do safari without hiring a tour guide. And roads are like very organized, and yeah, you just get to do safari at your own pace. And then once you're done with safari, we ended up staying in a campground, and we often barbecued a lot of stuff. And yeah, definitely, safari is one of the notable highlights of being in South Africa.
When you were there, did you guys mingle with other Japanese families, or it's just like all international people?
Both, I would say, yeah, I did. I did hang out with my friends from French school, and I would say, oh yeah, my school was international school was especially unique as it may seem because it's international school. One thing that was different from my previous educational experience in Germany was that I was not the only Asian in my school. There were a few Koreans too, and occasionally luckily one Taiwanese, one from mainland. But yeah, I wasn't the only Asian in my international school in South Africa.
So then I guess it's easier to see people who look like you.
I would say, yeah, in somewhat sense, more than Germany, I say.
Cool. And so now you're 12 years old and
Mhm.
your family decided to move again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you finish your elementary school in South Africa, or it was in the middle?
I did I did graduate elementary in
Yeah.
December,
Okay. And then you guys moved.
and then yeah, we moved to Taiwan.
Yeah. In Taipei.
Yes, Taipei.
Wow. And how did they choose your school?
Oh, well, of course, my parents made the decision, but we chose. I think one of the important criteria for how we chose school was whether there was a continuation until high schools, which is kind of meant to prepare me for college. So we always try to explore many options as possible, but we ended up just choosing was being educated in an English school system.
Got it. So you went to a British school as well.
In Taiwan. In Taiwan.
Yeah.
In Taiwan, I went to a American school,
Mhm.
which which was kind of, I would say, a Christian school.
Oh, okay. Is it Morrison?
Or Morrison, it's something like that.
Oh, something like that. Okay. Is it not a school that we?
TAAS. I can give you the acronym.
Okay. Got it. Cool. And so tell which grade were you in Taiwan?
Oh, Taiwan, I was there basically from elementary to high school.
Oh, to high school, like 12th
Like,
grade.
like 12 to 19, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, cool. Let's talk about it. So I think then moving to Taiwan, that's another layer of language because people in
Yeah.
Taiwan, we speak Mandarin and you already learned German, English, Japanese, and little French. Were you gonna take Mandarin?
Well, even when I went to a American school,
Mhm.
Chinese Mandarin classes were Mandarin, so I did learn.
But you probably don't use it as much.
Well, within home, nope. But outside, where we go, sightseeing, traveling, of course, yes.
What do you miss the most in Taiwan?
Well, one of the things I miss most is the Japanese restaurants in Taiwan, like Sukiya, if you know. It's
No,
like
I
similar
don't.
to Yoshinoya,
Oh,
like
okay.
beef rice, Japanese beef rice dish.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, are you saying that after moving so many countries, your favorite food is still Japanese food?
My favorite food is still Japanese food. Uh,
It's okay.
well, yes and no. Yes and
Yeah.
no.
So, what do you like the best?
It was in Taiwan. I definitely like dumplings for sure. And then also, yeah, I did often drink sugar-free soybean milk.
Oh, love it.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Sugar-free soybean milk.
It's good. I make it at home. It's yummy.
I mean, usually like soybean milk is sweet,
That's right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think nowadays there are more and more breakfast shops selling non-sweetened ones.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
health conscientious people.
But you like it.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. And was it easy for you to make friends in Taiwan?
Taiwan, overall, not much.
Mm-hmm.
Yes and no.
Why not?
Why not? Most students, for within let's say my school, most students will have just only been to Taiwan, been in Taiwan, have never like been outside of Taiwan. So it's difficult to get along with those people somehow. And even with some Japanese friends, it's the there I would say there weren't any really Japanese close friends that I really had also.
Got it. Yeah. I guess in those international schools, you also meet a lot of TCKs. Is it hard to make friends in your international school environment because they probably move around as well?
I think overall most students do not move around. So it was, for example, in my junior high school, most students basically stayed pretty much the whole time until graduation. But with occasional circumstances, a very few people did move around.
Got it. But you also mentioned it was not that easy. Well, it's partly easy, partly hard to maintain friendships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the great example for that is that I barely like contact with any of the friends that I've made in Germany, South Africa, Taiwan. Like barely, like only a few. Some of the realities that I face, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But in high school, for example, one of my friend is from Nigeria, but we instantly became like buddies because of our shared interest in soccer, and then we just kind of built from there, and we
Yeah.
still connect with each other.
So that's very interesting. You just mentioned soccer. So I guess it's easier for you to connect friends through a common interest or hobby.
Yeah, always for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Besides soccer, what do you do?
Besides soccer, yeah, for example, I love watching rugby. When I was living in I had no interest in rugby at all. But as I came here, I was able to, talk and connect with some friends who have watched rugby or seen rugby before. So my view, I really find it important to develop a variety of interests,
Yeah.
which
Awesome.
can be
Mm,
always useful for making friends.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And so, how did you make the decision of coming here in the US to study?
Uh, One, I always thought that it would be, well, one, technical reasons, being, being in the US, if you are born, you do automatically gain citizenship. So, personally, after work or work visas, it's probably, there's more flexibility in being in the US compared to other countries. And another reason is that I've always wanted to explore my quote unquote home country, another home country too.
What do you study right now?
I am studying sociology right now.
I'm wondering, by choosing your major in sociology, is there any reason behind that? Maybe it's like the experience moving around, or you're just curious about that.
I would say those two aren't that related. My experience in choosing my major in some way, but this is what I always find it most helpful. Like especially in college, I've started that's where I've most started to realize that it's okay to be unique, and also I've started to realize that all my experiences were good, were great, and that's to be treasured for life. And especially in college, when I take some classes like culture and anthropology or like U.S. history, world history, like some of those classes, there will frequently be cases where I could share contribute to class discussion by sharing my experience or what I know.
Yeah.
And that is definitely important. That's something that I love to do,
Yeah.
but frequently I always stay back.
Yeah. How does your growing up experience shape you as a person?
How does my growing up experience shape me as a person?
Mm-hmm.
Uh well, definitely being to oldest places, being open minded is definitely being open minded has definitely made me for who I am, and
Mm,
also trying to just be, I would say, patient,
mm-hmm.
patient, and also just knowledgeable about the ins and outs of other cultures.
Yeah. Before we end, is there anything else you want to share with us?
Oh, maybe I could talk a little bit about uh, Japan.
Sure, definitely.
Oh yeah, actually before coming to the U.S., I've always really wanted to explore Japan by uh, myself. Before that, I've always went to Japan with my parents, but I've always wanted to explore Burma. The reason why is that because in the future, in case or if so, I happen to decide to move back to Japan for some reasons and work, I knew that it was going to be important to just basically experience Japanese culture and society. And so after I graduated high school in Taiwan, I was staying with my grandparents' place for like 4 months, and I worked as a after school care. I work in after school care, And also one of the favorite things I did in Japan, of course, eat delicious Japanese food and explore Japanese history by going to a lot of temples and castles. And at the same time, I was also preparing to come to the U.S. by studying for like uh, placement tests, and yeah. And I'm glad that I did that. I experienced Japan before coming to the U.S.
Yeah. If in the future you have your own family, do you want to move around like your parents did, or do you want to stay in one place?
Uh, Ultimately, it will be, staying in one place is good,
Mm-hmm.
good overall, especially if you do have kids,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But of course, me personally, finding, work experience, finding a variety of experiences important. So I'm probably the person that does not want to stay in one place. One great example is when I, before coming to Colorado, I was studying in a community college in California, and I could have gone to the closest college was in California where I was living there, but I decided to come to Colorado because I wanted to experience a new state.
What is your future plan? Do you want to stay in Colorado or in the US or to another country?
First, I do want to stay in the U.S., Colorado for a while, and my dream aspirations is to go to live in Australia or New Zealand.
All right. Very, very cool. Yeah. Why New Zealand or Australia?
Uh,
So you can conquer all the
Definitely
continents.
out of all the countries, definitely like great outdoors. Uh, Probably just overall like a chill country, in
Oh, yeah.
my opinion.
Yes.
And also, I love I love sports,
Yeah.
especially rugby.
Yes.
And also, I think it would be a good place to be for be if you decided to have family also.
Thank you so much. Wow, this is very interesting to hear your stories and experience. And I just can't help to think of in the future, maybe after 5 years after you graduate, to see where you end up and what you will do and how you will decide which place to stay in and work and all that. So what is the language which is closest to your heart?
Oh, okay. I would say both.
Both Japanese and English?
Yeah,
Awesome. So thank you so much for coming to the show, Ken.
yeah. Thank you for allowing me to be in your show.
Thanks for listening to Try with Ping. If you think someone will benefit from this episode, don't forget to share with them. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If you like my show, you can buy me a chai with small gifts. Details are in the episode notes. Till next time!